At the start of the week, I was invited to a student trade show at Northumbria University, and I walked in expecting to find a few posters and a half-formed idea. But actually, I walked out realizing something far bigger. The problems student entrepreneurs face are exactly the same ones that small business owners face 10 years later, and most of them are actually avoidable. Today, I'm going to share some of the best lessons and the mistakes and the shortcuts that came out of that room. And if you run a small business, you'll take far more from this than you'll expect. So a colleague of mine, Steve, who I've taught with for many, many years, we've been teaching entrepreneurship together. And he'd invited me down and he said, oh, you should come and see what the students have created and what they're up to and everything like that. And I didn't really know what to expect. And these were first and second year entrepreneurship and business students. Some of them actually had real ventures. Some had prototypes. Some just had a sketch of kind of an idea there as well. And my job was relatively simple. Steve hadn't really told me what to do. I just started walking around the room, didn't I? And I started asking questions and I found myself helping them think. And at the end, Steve came up to me and he said, oh, which one did you like the best? Anyway, I'll save that and I'll tell you right at the end of this. So the first team that I spoke to were running a house music events company. And to be fair, they're absolutely smashing it. And it was great to see. And they'd filled a really large venue. Not only that, they'd ran a couple of nights in bars as well. That had been really, really successful. They had photographs up there showing people really having fun at their events, which was great. And they'd made some money, which was even better to see as well. One of the things that I did identify with them was about their social media strategy. It had QR codes to Instagram, but it didn't actually tell you where you were going to go. You ask questions like, what would happen if Instagram throttled your reach next week? Or what happens if your account gets flagged? Or, what's your backup plan? And I sort of talked to them and they said, well, actually, we've got emails from everyone who books onto the events. And I was like, oh, well, this is a great opportunity to develop a strategy for what I always refer to as push marketing. Is you've got an email list, you start sending loyalty offers, early bird prices for past attendances. That's the stuff that really builds a business. One of the simplest ways to grow an event is to reward the people who already trust you. And that's the same for any business at all, is you send them a private offer before it hits social media. So it's like saying, you've been before, just before we launch it to everyone else. Do you want to come and buy something? And here's a bit of a discount to help you come back. I suppose that's lesson one, is your next sale will usually come from someone who has bought from you before. So the next group that I went and spoke to, and they had a concept for an app. Lovely people, big boards, lots of numbers on there, and they thought it was going to cost £70,000 to develop this app. So I asked, have you actually played with something like Bolt.new or Replit? And they kind of were looking at me a bit blankly. And I said, look, have you used AI tools to build a basic prototype? They hadn't. They assumed you jump straight in with a big agency and pay big money. And that's what they'd done. They'd come up with the concept. They'd approached local companies who were app developers and said, this is the rough concept. Can you give us a guide price on it? And that's what ended up on their board, I suppose. But I was there to challenge them with different ideas, because I recorded a video a little while ago, which I'll flash up on screen, is about how I helped a client build a working web app in about 20 minutes. These technologies already exist. Because I'm from a software background, I know just how much time goes into spec writing and understanding how a piece of software is going to work. And I was talking to my mate Ross recently. He's from runs a company called Stable State, and he's does fractional CTO work. And in the past, he's done a lot of development work. If you build a prototype in Bolt.new or Replit, you've actually done the hardest part. You've shown the flow, you've proven the idea, and a developer can then rebuild it properly, and then you fully own the code, but you've saved thousands of pounds and kept control. And that's one of the wonderful things of these AI tools, is they will let you rapidly develop something to prove the concept. You can work out what order you want things to work in. And then when you go to your development team, you can say, look, I've already done all of the specification. Not only that, I've got a working prototype. I just need you to rebuild it. But my pal Ross is absolutely right, is most early stage tech waste comes from trying to buy a polished product before you've actually proved anyone needs it. So that's lesson 2 is build the simplest working version you can with the tools you already have. So the next group I came across, another tech one as well, is they got this concept from an AI DM tools. So companies who were getting a lot of direct messages on various social media platforms, they were looking at having an automated tool that could respond to all of these direct messages. The student I was speaking to, really bright, switched on, and I got into the weeds of API hooks straight away with him. I was asking about, why wasn't he just using Zapier? Why did he need custom code? And was he considering a custom GPT? And why couldn't they just catch a hook within Zapier? And why wasn't the data there? And if this bespoke integration would be really expensive, was that the right thing to do? And then a bit annoyingly, is because the students were being assessed at the same time, two of the assessors from the university turned up. And they said to me, I hope you're asking challenging questions. You should have seen the look on the student's face. But here's the point, is you don't need somebody from your own industry to help you. You need someone who's already solved similar types of problems, even in a different field. Those conversations that stop you spending money, I suppose. And that's lesson 3 is find people who challenge your assumptions early. So the next group had an idea for an ADHD support tool. What a brilliant concept. Really personal story behind it as well. I love personal stories because that's what brands are built on, is stories. And that's why people buy from you as well, is because of stories. They've done proper research as well into NHS demand on ADHD services and what the waiting lists were. And interestingly, it's just been in the news this week later on. And I was like, oh, here we go. There is market demand for this. But they had a problem. They said to me, it's too expensive to build a prototype. And I looked at them a little bit puzzled and said to them, why? And they were like, oh, we've approached some companies to do this for us and it's going to be really, really expensive. I was like, hang on a minute. We're standing in a university full of engineers, workshops, machines, and people who are just dying to solve some sort of real world problem rather than some just academic exercise. They haven't even thought about asking. I then said to them, at the end of this, go and find Steve and say, Justin said that you need to make an introduction to the engineering department. A few years ago, I got into a bit of trouble. A group of engineering students had approached me and said, we've got this 3D printed product idea, but we can't afford a 3D printer. I was like, wait a minute, you're engineering students. You've got an engineering budget that you can spend within using the machines. And they were like, oh, but it's not for commercial purposes. I was like, this isn't commercial purposes. This is for building prototypes. If we happen to have surplus prototypes that we can sell later, that makes all the difference, doesn't it? And then maybe help them bend the rules slightly at the university. And that's sometimes the problem, is that universities are quite rigid places in terms of lots of rules and regulations and everything like that. And it takes someone like me from the real world of business to know how to maybe bend the rules without fully breaking them, I suppose. The thing was, those students went on to win a regional award, and then they were finalists at a national award as well. So if someone hadn't actually challenged their assumptions and helped them think differently and interpret the rules a bit differently as well, then the university wouldn't have had all those great accolades either. And I think that sometimes is people are terrified to step beyond the line a little bit. What I'm trying to get across as a point here is something to do with lean startup, is use the resources that you've already got around you before you actually spend any real money. And I think that would have been a crying shame if those students from many years ago had actually gone and bought a 3D printer. And that's lesson 4. Your first version should be built with what you already have, not money you don't have yet. So after 4 stalls, I realized I'd given away more practical advice in about half an hour than many people get in a year. Not because I'm clever, but because I've made enough mistakes to see where they were heading. And it reminded me of one of my students from the Help to Grow program. She's got a great business and she was blown away by her mentor that she was given through the program. Not because the mentor told her anything kind of wild, but because she was asking questions and the mentor was challenging some assumptions and ideas. Mentors can help save you from daft mistakes. And that's true for students, and it's true for small business owners, and it's true for big business owners as well. In fact, mentors, it's true for all of us. There's a hidden crossover that nobody sees. There's nobody at the university sees me as JT, the systems accountant, and no one in my firm sees me as JT, the academic. And I bridge 2 worlds. The academic side, it gives frameworks and academic knowledge and ways of me thinking differently as well. The business side, it's going to give you scars ultimately, isn't it? And that's a rare mix, is universities actually want people like you in the building. Businesses need knowledge that universities quietly hold as well. Both sides benefit, but they actually rarely talk to each other, and that's a bit of a shame. If you're a business owner watching this, here are 4 simple ways to get the same advantage as those students got this week. Number 1, use the resources already around you first. Rooms you already pay for, software you already own, students looking for experience. You could even find your local university hatchery could help you, even if you graduated 10 years ago. It's amazing if you contact your university and say, I'm thinking about starting a business. Can you help me? And they might give you some free office space. Number 2 is look at the Help to Grow program. I just mentioned that in saying before. It's a management training initiative, partially funded by the government, and it costs only £750. You get 12 modules, and you also get a mentor, which is amazing. I mean, I think that's probably worth £750 on its own. If you were local to me and you happen to sign up to the Northumbria University delivery team for Help to Grow, you'd find me on the finance module teaching you all about systems in accountancy and also a bit of financial accountancy. Number 3 is find a mentor, paid or unpaid, in your sector or outside it. But all you're looking for is someone who's going to ask better questions and challenge your assumptions. I've worked with lots of people over the years, and it's been great experience for me to do that as well. And quite a lot of mentors will volunteer their time for nothing as well, because they want to give something back, and they've probably made a lot of business mistakes themselves that they would like to see other people avoid because they were painful and they don't want to see anyone else go through them again. I've been a young enterprise mentor, and I've also been a Princess Trust mentor in the past. The people who work on the Help to Grow program, they're volunteering their time as mentors as well. So you can see that there are a lot of people out there doing mentoring. I think sometimes you just got to go and ask for help. My 4th idea is test early and test cheap. Prototype and AI tools. These are great things that have suddenly become available to us, especially AI tools, is build quick versions, save your budget, and save that budget for things that really need investment. So which group did I like the best out of all the student groups? Steve asked me that question as I left. It wasn't the idea, it wasn't the concept, and it wasn't the stall with the best poster either. It was the group who were open to be challenged. They were the ones who leaned in and asked questions and flipped their thinking. It was maybe a group that told the best story as well behind the scenes because I could relate to it. And those are the people who tend to win in business, the ones who listen, the ones who can tell a great story. And that's what you need to do for your business, is you need to listen to the advice and listen to the people who can give you that advice. But not only that, is you want to tell great stories about where your company is from and where it's going and how you can change the life of your customers ultimately. I always seem to end up talking about technology, and this week was no different. The students had great ideas, but they didn't yet have the experience to turn them into working systems. Most business owners are actually the same. The ideas are there, the tools are there, but actually the know-how is missing. So if you want to see what a modern system looks like in real life, watch my next video. I show you exactly how I automated over 400 tasks each week across my business, and that's coming up on screen in a moment. And don't miss the free PDF download where I open up my full client onboarding automation so you can copy parts of it that fit with your own business. And if you want proper help to modernize your business or even look at your business systems and technology stack, is take a look at my modernization diagnostic at askjt.co.uk. The link's in the description, and I'll see you next time. Bye.